the stimulus that my nervous system likes. I got a positive adaptation because I got more range of motion. My vocal tone dropped. I feel better when I do this. My pain decreased. So I'm going to give that constant stimulus throughout the day or in the morning as part of my nervous system hygiene practice. And you can know that that's like one of your good go-to drills.
What,
So
what
kind of
I
play with it a little
yeah,
bit.
what I love about what you're saying here, and I don't want the listeners to glance over it, is you're encouraging people to test, retest, and make sure that this is an appropriate drill or movement or technique for them to actually regulate the nervous system. And so, if listeners are listening, when we're talking about range of motion tests, like Elizabeth's saying, you can bring your ear to your shoulder and look in the mirror and say, how much range of motion do I have? That you do the drill, and if you feel like you have more range of motion, then it's a sign that your nervous system has gone into a more relaxed state because the muscles are more relaxed. You can do this by bending forward and reaching to touch your toes is another good example of this. But I just love that test retest method because it's going to give you a sense of like, there's probably a few of these that are going to impact you really meaningfully, and there's probably a few of these that aren't going to work all that well for you. And if you just do the ones that somebody tells you to do without getting that actual nervous system feedback, you might be just wasting your time and efforts.
Yeah, and I want to
Exactly.
highlight something really important. Like, I want to zoom out even further because what I have learned, and I'd love your perspective on this, Elizabeth, as it pertains to nervous system work and nervous system regulation, is that many of us are conditioned and trained to be in a world that says your mind and your body are not connected.
Yeah.
The feedback you get from your body is not to inform the mind. The mind is to overpower the body, like no pain, no gain, push through. Like you might be on a diet and you might feel like shit, but you're still doing it, right? We have literally been conditioned and trained to not listen to the signals of our body. And so I just think it's an important launch pad to know that we're going into it with that.
Yeah.
Because what you're talking about is stopping, connecting the mind and the body, and like letting those two things talk to one another. And that takes practice because we're not trained to do that.
It really does. And it can be difficult at first to feel those sensations from the body, especially because we do live in a culture that disconnects us from our body or teaches us to push through. Also, if we're someone who has a high level of dissociation, disconnect from the body that we started to learn probably pretty early in life, kept us safe. Coming back into the body and feeling those sensations can actually be a little bit scary, a little bit activating, a little bit overwhelming. So you want to do it little by little. And that's why also too, I really like using a range of motion because it's a little bit more objective and you don't have to go as deep internally as to like feeling the internal sensations. You can just look like, yeah, is my ear closer to my shoulder or not? You can video yourself. You can look in the mirror